Welcome back to Plug and Play EV. I'm Steve, and in this one we'll be talking a Christmas gift from Hyundai, or at least something that will be a New Year gift for most Hyundai owners going into the new year. It's one of these things, or something very close to it, to enable you to access something in the realm of 20,000 Tesla Superchargers in 2025. So let's look at what Hyundai has announced, when you can expect to be receiving your gift, and why you might want to stump up still for one of your own in the meantime. Let's get into it. So access to Tesla Superchargers for Ioniq owners is no big surprise. We've known that was coming, and that's actually the Hyundai Ioniq 5 would be one of the first models to access NACS J3400 as a native port. So we know the 2025 Hyundai Ioniq 5 is being delivered in the next few weeks here, coming up to the end of 2024, and that will come with the native NACS J3400 port. So that's going to be the Tesla connector essentially for all V3 and V4 superchargers. Good news for them, that's not going to require an adapter, but for folks who are in earlier models like myself here in the 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5, and everybody who has bought one before January 31st of 2025, if it's the former model year, i.e. 22, 23, 24 for the Ioniq 5, and even classic Ioniq owners, they will be able to get a free adapter. No, it doesn't tell you anything about charging connector, but this has a NACS handle on it, as well as CCS. So it might be a bit silly to use the adapter, but just to see if it works, for the sake of having this A to Z adapter, you can see the J3400 NACS inlet right there, and the CCS, which will go into our car, CCS1. Let's get into the charger and see what it does. So, as you can see, NACS Tesla, or in our case Ioniq 5, combo right there, CCS1, but I'm just going to use the NACS and start this charge up. So again, J3400 NACS handle, much bigger CCS handle. I guess you can see why people call it more elegant, but we're going to make it inelegant. You can see already how much more clunky that makes it, but let's see if this goes. There we go. Seemed to figure it out briefly, and then maybe didn't lock in place. There we go. Took a second to figure out what was going on. Still seems to think we need to plug in, according to the screen. So I may have freaked it out there. But essentially, instead of using the CCS1, we've got the NACS handle via the A to Z adapter, and it says we're charging. So let's take a look what the car thinks. So there we go. These are only CPE 250s, so it's not paired so that it can pump up the power. When these are together and paired, they can get up to 125 kilowatts, but in this case they're just separate, so 62.5. And possibly because of the cold here, or maybe just because of the limitations on the station, we are seeing 53 kilowatts. But interesting, that was not as smooth as you would see if I just activated and shoved in the CCS1 handle. Did have some confusion machine itself on the hardware, but it does show in the app that we're charging at the 53 kilowatts. So the adapter does work, and it is something I will test on the Tesla Superchargers later on today. If I get a successful session, I will post more of that. If I don't, I'll just put a note here that it was still unsuccessful. I wouldn't expect it to be successful at this point. It's still one of those where it's unlikely to be authorized in the system, although we will be able to obviously physically attach the adapter and get it into the Tesla Supercharger and then into the Ioniq 5. It's probably going to be a case of they know it's software locked out until they open it up for the previous model years. It is open for the 2025 Hyundai Ioniq 5s right now, but they do not exist, or at least have not been sold in the United States as of the time of this recording. So this is as close as we're going to get, but it is nice to have these ChargePoint chargers having been fitted with the NACS J3400 handle to be able to test that and just see how it goes. In this case, it's just validation that that A to Z adapter, which is really well built, put together pretty nicely, and has a double locking handle, does work, and something we'll be able to try on the Tesla Superchargers when we finally get software unlocked for that. So that did catch up. I think I just freaked it out a little bit, not knowing which connector I was going to use. But you can see it's not really stretching it. It's got 75 amps pushing through it. Full voltage pretty much, but not really getting much out of this. So 55 is fine. We'll want to test it on actual Tesla Superchargers. I didn't even touch that, just reiterating how crap sometimes these ChargePoint touchscreens can be. Just a vague wave in front of it. But anyway, it's pushing this, it's doing fine. We will stop it now. Went from a little bit below 20% to 25% in 8 minutes or so. And it's got this double lock. It's going to be hard to see here. Ugh, chunky. Okay, this was 40 cents per kilowatt hour, so not bad, but not particularly powerful. It's a workplace charger as well. So it's already quite a heavy J3400 handle compared to what you would feel on the Tesla Supercharger, just the regular. But it does add pretty big amount of heft to that. But the A to Z adapter is built really well. It's a nice unit, and I'm glad to have it, even if they're getting free ones now. It's got a double locking mechanism on both handles. There we go. Tough to do with the camera in hand, but you can see it's probably easier to leave it in the port and then take this out. Again, pretty heavy for a NACS handle, but nice to have it to test. That'll just slide back up in there. Now we'll just remove this. And finish up that session. There are some prohibitions on third-party adapters that we'll get into a little bit later in this, but obviously the official one will be fine, and we'll just wait to see who Hyundai uses. But that was a successful session. So just checking in the following day here to confirm that the Tesla Superchargers did not work when we tried them with the adapter. Not surprising, it's all software locked until Hyundai is ready to go. But if anyone is in a 2025 Hyundai Ioniq 5 in the next week or two, you will be able to get access to the Tesla Supercharger network. And in terms of the rest of us, we're looking at Q1 2025. It's probably going to align with the Kia access around the middle of January, so expect to see that fairly soon. In terms of accessing the portal to get the adapters, it's going to be through the MyHyundai owners portal, but I did check in the aftermath of charging there, and there's no availability to do that just yet. So it's going to be all January by the looks of it, and they were just clearing the decks to get this announcement out there before Christmas. But something to look forward to in the new year. The reason obviously to get the third-party adapter would be to jump that process and just get one ahead of time. They're available in that realm of $150 to $200 from the likes of A to Z, Electron. Although third-party adapters aren't officially recognized, it's the ones that people are mostly using, and Ford has used its own version of the Electron adapter to push out officially. It's really just down to the manufacturer and how urgent your need is. Potentially, if you have road trips planned in the winter or spring months, you may want to just stump up for one and have access to that extra 20,000 plus chargers. Or if you're really not that worried about it, you can wait and get the free adapter. On the speeds, we've seen more news that the Ioniq 5 with the native J3400 port will get faster speeds. I think we're looking at the mid 100s for that. On the older Ioniq 5s that we've seen, it's been capped at 97 kilowatts because of the voltage limitations on the supercharger and the way that the EGMP platform steps up power. I've done that in previous videos, no real news there, just something to be aware of, that charging on the supercharger network is not going to max out the car's capabilities. You're going to need to find 1,000 volt chargers for that. But something you may want to consider, and obviously the redundancy of the supercharger network is a welcome addition to traveling with the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and all the other Hyundai electric vehicles. So that's where we land for that one. Thanks for watching this year. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all celebrating this week. We will have more videos coming through the holiday season. I've got a bunch that I've queued up that I need to ship, so don't be surprised if you see a little more activity than usual just to round out the year. But appreciate everyone who's watched this year, whether it's the Coast to Coast EVs fortnightly live stream or the videos on Plug and Play EV here. Thanks for all your support. Appreciate you watching and wishing you and yours a very happy new year.